One podcast.
Hey, what's up, phone lovers, and welcome to the Mobile Road Podcast for the week of 4th of July, 2014. I'm Joe Fidua.
And I am Christopher Chavez.
And I am Kevin Rouse.
All right, so yes, holiday weekend. After this, everyone can go celebrate. So we had a kind of a slow week because of that, but a few things happened that we'll talk about.
Great. I like the posters in your background there, Joe.
Oh yeah, these are brand new this week. I got Star Wars.
Dude, those are so sweet.
And Back to the Future. Back to the Future is my favorite movie ever, so had to get
Mine
that
too. Mine too.
Really?
Yeah, seriously, like of all time. Did you know? Just FYI, the Lone Pines Mall, where they do the whole Back to the Future thing. That's like maybe 10 minutes away from here. It's the La Puente Mall that I grew up at.
Oh, that's
crazy.
pretty neat.
That's where my parents actually met. My dad as a shoe salesman. Pretty crazy.
Well, then it was your destiny to like Back to the Future.
Did you have to go back in time to make sure that they still met each other and fell in love?
Yeah, Chris knows they met there because he saw it in person.
So nice.
All right, so I guess we'll start things off with a acquisition. Google bought Songza. First of all, do any of you use Songza?
No, nobody does. I don't think anyone. No.
Do you
So I guess it didn't really hurt. There's really.
Because I don't.
Yeah, it's like a music curation thing. So it streams music like everything else does, and then they curate music based upon moods and all that stuff. And they use, it's not like an electronic algorithm like some stuff. They kind of take the Pandora approach where it's live, like some employee listens to music and says, "Oh, this sounds like this," and then they make it into this huge big list. So it's a little bit more, I guess you could say, accurate. I don't know, but I don't think anyone was really using it, so that's why no one was really up in arms over the purchase. No one was like, "Oh, they're gonna ruin songs." No one was really even using it. So.
Yeah, I didn't see too many negative reactions. Saw quite a few positive reactions.
Yeah, but it's neat. I'm not really into the whole what do you call that? Curating my music and stuff. I usually just pick an album on Spotify or Google Play and I just let it go. I don't know. Do you guys ever do that? The mood stuff?
I mean, I have different stations on Pandora that I'll go through depending on mood, but that's about it.
Yeah, like you know your mood, and then you kind of know what you want to listen to. That's kind of like how I do it. Like, oh, I'm into some indie stuff right now because I'm in a happy mood. I want to listen to some indie, but it's weird to just, I don't know, pass that on to someone else. Like, I'm feeling happy today. Play something happy for me, and let someone else just come up with all that. It's kind of weird.
So is this just going to be rolled into Play Music, you think? Or is it like a separate? Are they going to keep it separate?
Google said they have no, it's going to take a little bit. They're like, I think it's going to be kind of like a Waze thing. So they said they're going to keep songs alive and rolling right now. They even recommended people try it out and download it. But they said slowly but surely it's going to be incorporated into Google Play Music, and it's even going to come to YouTube and some of their other stuff that they got going on. YouTube and something else, which is kind of weird because you're just like, what? Really? That's strange, but
your video recommendations are going to get more accurate, hopefully.
Yeah, like all those twerking vids. based on your love of butts.
I think, like you said, Chris, not a lot of people were using this, so there wasn't a huge reaction to it. But one thing that I kind of thought of while this was happening, because I did see some people kind of cheering about Google buying another company, and I kind of just thought of how weird it is that a lot of people cheer about these type of things, like when companies get bought out, and I don't know, I just think that's kind of a strange thing because a lot of the times these services they change for the worse.
They change, they cut a bunch of employees, a bunch of people are laid off, I don't know. It's not always good. I agree.
Yeah, it's always just kind of a loyalty thing where it's like everyone's rooting for their favorite company to buy all these other
Yeah,
companies.
they bought another one, and I don't know. I'm always kind of indifferent. I'm not really sure which way to feel about it, but sometimes I wonder, if some of these smaller startups and companies and stuff, if that's their end goal is to create this awesome product, so that eventually Google or Facebook or someone will come to them with their bags of money and just say, here, we want you on our team. We're gonna let go pretty much everybody, but the CEO and you get to stay on. Like, oh, cool, thanks.
I think what's interesting to me
I don't
though
know.
about this whole acquisition is that a lot of people are comparing it to the Beats acquisition by Apple, but it kind of seems to me like slightly separate realms.
Yeah, I
But a lot
mean,
of people,
Yeah, that they're saying that's the whole reason why Apple bought Beats to begin with isn't because of the ridiculous headphones, and it's not because of the brand image or anything. It was because of this whole music curating thing that is supposed to be huge. I don't know why everyone believes it's so like it's the
yeah,
future or something, but
Beats
I
is
find
streaming.
that really hard to believe.
I didn't think the Beats music streaming app was that. I thought it was kind of flopping by all.
Right.
yeah. I mean, and the same thing goes with Songza, though, right? Like Songza was kind of floppy. No one was really using it. I'm sure they probably wouldn't have been around very much longer if Google didn't buy them. But for some reason, these companies are kind of banking big on this. I don't know. I don't know if it has something to do. It's kind of like, I guess, over the air, like radio. You turn on the radio and you expect them to play songs that you like. So maybe that's kind of like what they're trying to do with this. They're hoping it's going to be like the new era digital radio or something. I'm not sure.
How much did Google pay for Songza?
Uh, exact dollar amount. They didn't say in the press release, but I think they said it was around 11 million. So a fair
And
chunk of change.
what did Apple pay for Beats?
How much did they pay for Beats? They paid because they got their manufacturing stuff, so they paid like I think a couple of billion, right?
Yeah, so I mean that's why I think if Apple was really about the curating thing, there's like way cheaper alternatives that they could have purchased. That seems silly. That's silly to me. There's no way they did that.
Oh, okay. So Reuters or whatever is saying that it was valued around 6.7 million. Oh no, Songs of raised 6.7 million. So yeah, and then Beats was I don't even know how much. A ton.
Yeah, it was in the billions.
So they pretty much got them for just some pocket change. That's nothing to Google.
It was a much cheaper acquisition. I mean, I wouldn't say that Songza was exactly flopping 100%. I mean, it's still. I'm looking here. It says they had up to about 2 million users, and they had recently raised plenty of funding. It looks like they've been raising millions of dollars in funding. So I don't think they were in any danger of kind of fading out. I think if anything, they were growing. So it might be a smart buy on Google's part simply because they are, getting them while they're cheap. With the anticipation that Songza was building up to be something much bigger. Who knows if they hadn't been bought out? Maybe Songza a year or two from now would have been one of the bigger players. We really won't be able to know at this point, but I think if anything, it's kind of a shrewd move. I mean, we can kind of judge that Songza obviously wasn't the most popular music app out there, but it seems like it was growing in popularity. So, I mean, this could pay off for Google. But then again, if they kill the app and just they find the functionality more valuable, that's a whole different story.
Well,
I'm sure they will eventually.
Oh, sorry, Chris.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say I think it would fit perfectly into Google Music because you were saying how they do a lot of like what type of mood you are in, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in Hangouts you set your mood, and I'm pretty sure in Google Plus there's a way where you can like do a mood GIF. You could easily do that in Google Music, and music would start playing.
And then Google Now would just know, right? It would be like, hey, we noticed you're kind of feeling sad today. Here's some upbeat, tempo music to get in a better mood. Yeah, you're right. That's true. I didn't even think about that. Crazy. All the data that Google has. I mean, they know everything about us, right?
It's just interesting too. I mean, if you just go to Songs' site, I'm looking at it right now, just at their announcement post on this, and across the top of their site, it just has a little. I don't know if this is on different for everybody, but for mine it says play music for Thursday afternoon, and you can just click it. So I guess they have people who've decided what music is best for a
Great
Thursday afternoon.
Thursday listening.
This is the perfect music for Thursday. That's so
If
funny.
you like pina coladas.
I mean, they got a lot to work with this Thursday. I mean, it's holiday weekend, almost
Yeah.
like a Friday type of vibe, but interesting that they kind of going with that approach.
Tomorrow it's just a national anthem for 24 hours.
Yeah, and proud to be an American.
Got to throw in that Jimi Hendrix version of the national anthem to shake things up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, shred it a little bit.
Yeah.
Shredding.
All right. So moving on from Songza, our buddy John Ledger. Ledger and T-Mobile are in the news, but for a change, not really positive.
Yeah, this is kind of, I'm not going to say surprising or shocking, because nothing really is when it comes to kind of the cutthroat mobile industry these days, but definitely different from the news we've been hearing about T-Mobile.
Oh, yeah, the whole them knowing about and charging. I mean, this was kind of, I think we kind of knew this, though, because T-Mobile, I think it was part of one of their uncarrier things where they like decided to abolish these SMS charges or these premium SMS charges. They were just like, no, we're not having it anymore. We're for the consumer. And that's kind of what T-Mobile or John Ledger, like when he addressed the FTC's complaint, he was saying, dude, we already said that we're going to get rid of those. It's not a big deal anymore. But something tells me, when you're being investigated by the FTC for something, FTC, you probably know what it is they're looking for, and if they're looking into like all these third-party SMS charges and all this scams or whatever the heck it is, you're probably like, holy crap, we got to do something to change this fast.
So what's the whole story? I mean, I kind of vaguely know something about these premium text charges, and T-Mobile was, if not behind it, like not supporting it, but they knew weren't stopping it, like.
So back in the day, I mean, you probably, when you're watching MTV or whatever, you see that dancing frog come on, and he's just like, ba-doop-ba-doop-ba-doop-ba-doop-ba-doop, and you can like download the ringtones, or like they have, you're watching Maury Povich, and then the commercial has like those love apps, are not even love apps. It's like, text me for your horoscope, and we'll tell you who your match is. And then you look at the fine print, it's freaking $10 a month just for these premium SMS services, and most people don't know that. There's some kids on their mom's phone or something. I don't know if Billy likes me, and they type it in or whatever. So apparently T-Mobile, I mean, of course they knew that these charges or premium charges were going on, but they had such a high return rate, a refund rate, that the FTC says that you knew that these were pretty bogus, but you kind of turned a blind eye towards it. You were just like, it's not a big deal, or we'll just try to brush it under the rug, because I'm sure T-Mobile gets a little bit some of that money as well. And their billing didn't exactly help. T-Mobile's billing, it'll show usage charges, but it doesn't itemize anything. So you would have to flip through, 20, 30 pages of your T-Mobile bill to find this premium text charge and be like, what? It's for that freaking dancing frog, or whatever. Ridiculous. So the FTC says they knew about it. The refund rates were so high that obviously they knew about it, and they did nothing. So now they want T-Mobile to refund like all these charges, a couple $1 million to all these people that have ever been affected and whatnot, and it's just and fix their billing, I think, as well. But it's just kind of weird that they're being targeted specifically, when I'm sure this has gone on AT&T. Verizon has a trillion more customers or subscribers than T-Mobile does. They're the little guy. I mean, think about all the people that are being affected on Verizon or AT&T. These guys are huge.
Isn't the big issue then, shouldn't they be going after the people that are doing these deceptive text messaging services to begin with?
Not the carrier? I mean, like Chris said, it says on the screen that it's going to charge you.
In very fine, small
But where is T-Mobile's responsibility to have anything to do with these charges, other than to make sure that, I mean, it's got to be on the bill clearly, and like where it's coming from?
Exactly. That's kind of where the FTC was. One of their issues was that it wasn't very clear on the bill that you were getting charged for this stuff. But it's just odd. It's odd that they're targeting T-Mobile. They're going after T-Mobile with this, when there's these big guys that are doing the exact same thing, and no one's saying anything to them. I'm sure maybe they'll go after them later, but it's just kind of weird, and especially after last year, what was it, Uncarrier 3.0 or something. I forget which one it was, but they completely got rid of these charges. They said, okay, we're not going to even do these third-party SMS charge stuff, and we're going to make it easy to get refunds for people that have done it. So T-Mobile was already kind of, doing the whole for the consumer thing like they always do.
And I think that is why the other carriers aren't being attacked right now, is because they didn't go out and say they were going to remove these charges.
maybe it actually attracted attention or unwanted attention to them, but I don't know. It's silly. It's silly and kind of dumb. And John Ledger's not too happy about it, and he says that they're being unfairly targeted. Of course, but yeah, that's the spiel.
Yeah, I mean, don't complain about being targeted. I mean, you did it. Why'd you do it?
Yeah, but that's what I was kind of like laughing, because in the press release, he's basically saying, well, they're doing it, after he said he just spent a couple paragraphs saying they didn't do anything wrong, and then he's saying, well, look at all these other guys, they're doing the same thing. Nothing wrong. They're also doing nothing wrong. Like, so he basically admitted to it that, like, yeah, we kind of screwed up, but they changed their policies.
Guilty.
Yeah.
All right. We got a question here from Jaginder Rawat. Man, I completely just
you probably
butchered that name. Yeah. I apologize. He asks, how Android Auto and L going to change future for apps industry? That's kind of a very broad question.
Broad, but interesting nonetheless, because really we don't know too much. I think they just released the Android, what was it, the Android Wear SDK to actually start making some of these apps. Like right now they're based on notifications, but soon people will be able to make apps that run natively on Android Wear. So like that's kind of whatever. And then Android Auto, those are just regular apps that when you plug into your head unit or whatever, it'll just change the UI a bit so it's more driver friendly.
Well, I think the broad answer, yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just like because it's a broad question, but I think the more broad answer was kind of addressed in the Google I/O keynote last week when they were talking about a big part of Android L, which extends to Auto and TV, and then to a lesser extent to Android Wear, I guess. But with Android L, this build, the whole point is to have the whole thing streamlined so that app developers don't have to build 3 different apps for 3 different platforms. They can build one app that'll work across all platforms. I mean, granted, you have to do some design and UI tweaks for each platform probably, but a much less involved sort of process for creating one app that works smoothly across all systems.
And it's weird actually, because you really only have to add a few lines of code to make your apps say compatible with Android Wear or Android TV, and it's really up to the developers. It's easy if you want to do it, but if you do it wrong, I saw on Netflix this week they released a separate version for Android TV, and everyone just like, what are you doing?
I noticed that too. There was what was it, Evernote? There's a separate Evernote Wear just for Android Wear, and people were like, wait, what? You're supposed to...
It's defeating the purpose.
Making a separate app? Yeah, exactly. No, you're not supposed to make a whole separate freaking app. You're supposed to include it in your normal app. Like, what's going on? So I don't get it, because the Google talked about how easy it was to incorporate all this stuff into your existing apps, and then people are still like, we got to make a separate app.
I could see where these companies would be a little bit wary of this, simply because, I mean, look at Google TV. Like, Google promised big things with Google TV, and then they just kind of let it fall to the wayside. So imagine if Android TV, Google can update Android L, but if manufacturers of Android TV don't deliver those updates at the same time as the manufacturers of the smartphones deliver those updates, then you're working with apps that are on different Android versions, and maybe things aren't compatible. So I could see how you might think, just to be safe, like, let me make a standalone app for Android TV. But then again, doesn't Google Play for developers allow the possibility to host multiple versions of the same app that'll be, they'll smartly choose which platform to download for and things like that? I don't know. The whole thing,
or something like that.
I could just see how they would be like, well, we need to have an Android TV app, because what if Google just abandons Android TV, never updates it again like they did with Google TV? And
It's a bit confusing for sure. Or perhaps some of these bigger companies like Evernote, maybe they have a group, like a separate group, just working on the Android TV app or just the Android Wear app. Um, who knows? It's kind of weird.
They haven't really talked about this yet, but Kevin, you said something about making sure the Android TV gets updated and whatnot, and I know they mentioned already that Android Wear devices won't be able to be customized by the OEM, and that was actually our next topic. And I'm wondering if they're going to do the same thing for the TV and auto, I guess, for that matter.
That's the impression that I got, was that all of these platforms are moving towards like a standardization where it's people see that as or at least Google sees that as like a positive for it to be standardized, as opposed to
I noticed a lot of people making a big deal about that headline in particular, but when you think about it, there's not really a UI to Android Wear. All they have is like a pull down, and I mean you could only customize that so much. But
there's tons you could change. I mean, the entire card interface is a UI that could be changed.
Yeah, but like you wouldn't. It's so small. It would be very difficult to change something. Maybe like a dark theme or something. And even then, I don't really agree with Google's thing. I think OEM should be able to skin and customize this stuff. I know it's not like a popular opinion, but to me, I think that's what keeps Android unique and interesting. Is when you have all these different watches and they're all running, they're all running Android and they're all compatible with Android and all the apps that we love, but they all have their unique flair and design to them. I like that. I think that's awesome. And right now you're seeing
that's why we have custom watch faces.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess does LG? I wonder if LG has their own custom watch faces that Motorola and them won't have.
Oh yeah,
I guess that'll be.
I've seen that already. The G Watch and the Gear Live have completely different watch faces.
Yeah, so that's like
the Gear Live and the yeah. I mean, I guess that's one way to kind of differentiate them, but I still would like to see a different UI. I mean, I like the card interface right now, but I wouldn't mind seeing something a little darker, something a little more traditionally hollow.
Well, I think what's happening is there's Android as a whole, which is you can customize as much as you want, but I think what Google's doing is if you want to use our services in your Android, then it's going to look this way.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. And Android, what was it? Android Car? Android Auto? Whatever.
Android Car.
Android Car. That isn't even really a UI in itself either. It's just Android L that converts apps into like a landscape mode with like the buttons at the bottom and stuff. So there's really not too much you could even do with that.
If you think about these kind of devices, they're not devices that call for like a very in-depth UI, because they're devices that are really just companion type devices. That
you're not spending a lot of time in them. Exactly, just sitting there fiddling around with your watch.
I think that's what people have gotten wrong with smartwatches up to this point, is that they've tried to do too much with it. I think Android Wear gets a lot of things right, but I also think if you think back to when Android started, all the different manufacturers coming out, which has been a great thing, and the customization has been great, but I mean, there's always been this undercurrent with all of Android where people, the dreaded F word, fragmentation, everyone doesn't want to talk about it. So you think about Android Wear, it's a new platform they're launching, and they had the opportunity to sit down and say, we're going to avoid this fragmentation problem before it ever begins. We're just going to say, you can't do it, you got to keep it standardized.
I think it's just
an Android Wear device.
I think it's probably just initially, because when Android first came out and it was on, the T-Mobile G1 and some of these other phones, like there was just plain old Android. There was no, nobody was really doing these manufacturer skins until HTC came around with like
that's
the
all
Hero
they really
and all
had.
that stuff.
I mean, that's kind of all they had. Like, if we weren't even familiar with regular Android yet, how could you even know how to improve it? So
exactly, yeah.
Anyway.
And back in that day, I mean, people skinned Android because they needed to, and I think Google is just working as hard as they can so they can sell people, hey, you don't need to do anything anymore. We got this.
You always need to. I'm definitely not. I mean, there's the purists. You have like Derek Ross, the Android Google loves it nice and pure and vanilla, but I too. I mean, I prefer Android vanilla, but I don't mind having I don't mind having Sense 6, and even like the new TouchWiz I think is kind of cool, and some of the new features on there are neat. It runs like crap, but I like the way it looks, and I like the way it makes it look different, and it
But
provides
you see that the whole thing has been moving more towards a more traditional Google Android, no matter what the device, and that's simply because you think about when Android launched, Android itself wasn't a big enough marketing term. You were selling the device more on the brand name and more on the functionality. Like Android was secondary, so you had a Droid. Yeah. No one even called it Android. They had like the Motorola Droid. They had the Droid phone, and that still kind of sticks around to this day. But I think recently, especially with KitKat and over the past year or two, especially Android itself has become a pretty big marketing term, and now people want an Android phone. You know, Android is just like iOS, and it's not. They don't just want, oh, I want a Samsung phone. Oh, I want the HTC phone. They want an Android phone. So I think Android itself is in a much different position where it in itself, people want, and they want Android. They want KitKat. They want that. They want that experience.
I don't think that's happening yet. I honestly don't think we'll see it until Android L this year. Like with all this cool stuff that Android's going to be able to do, I think that's going to kind of create a name for itself. Like right now, it's just it's Android is just it's almost like Windows. No one says I want to get a Windows PC. They're just like, oh no, I need a new laptop. I need a new computer. No one's like, I need to get Windows. And that's kind of how it is with Android right now. People want an iPhone. People want Galaxy. People want an HTC One M8, but no one wants like an Android. I gotta have an Android unless you're into that sort of thing.
I'm continually impressed with how many people I run into that are just normal people that are they have an Android phone and they don't just have it because they're like, oh, this was the cheap phone that I could get. They're like, oh, I wanted the Android phone because it has these Android features. So I think it is becoming more prevalent.
Yeah, it's slowly but surely it's happening.
And I think some people are starting to say they want a Google phone.
Yeah.
Because that's what these devices really are. Essentially, it's the Google phone.
I gotta have that Google.
Which it would not surprise me one bit if like 3 or 4 years down the road they dropped Android altogether and just called it the Google phone.
I don't think they will, because what they just did, rebranding it and stuff, I think for a time, it seemed like they were doing that. They were downplaying the word Android because they knew people didn't really think of it as that great of a term and a brand, but now they gave it a brand new logo. They're putting in the name of stuff again. Android TV, Android Wear, Android Auto. I think they're starting to push it again.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
It definitely seemed like it was flipping, especially when they changed Android Market to Google Play, but I guess that Google Play is trying to be much larger than just Android exclusively, so that makes sense.
I would love it if they just switched it back to Android Market. That would make so much more sense with the new logo and spiff it up the UI or something. I mean,
Google Play is a good name.
I hate Google Play. I still hate Google Play. I always will.
Well, screw you. I had nothing to say to that. Anyway, I guess we'll move on. So this is something that I don't think's really happened ever before. But the Twitter leaker EvLeaks, he got duped, and I guess he's human after all.
Yeah, I mean, his leaks are never. I mean, nothing's ever official, and things change all the time. And I'm sure it's a very strange world that he's in. These weird forums, or I don't know where he gets all these leaks from and stuff, but. It's a dangerous business to be into, but I guess some kid, he said it was like some 12-year-old kid, right, posing to be a Google worker.
Yeah.
Fooled him into, what was it, the latest leak was the HTC Volantis, which is supposed to be the next Nexus tablet, which there have been a lot of leaks and hints and tips to, but he came out of left field with this whole crazy rumored specs for it, which were like 5 gigabytes of RAM and that doesn't make sense. That part alone, but
what device has ever had 5 gigabytes of RAM?
You have 2, you have 4, you have 8, you have 16. No one just comes out with just 5.5 gigs or something ridiculous. But that was kind of like the first red flag. And even in the post, when I was writing it, I'm like, this just doesn't sound right. It's kind of unbelievable and a little bit strange and odd, and I don't know. But my line of thinking was that this was a prototype device that they were testing. So it had this crazy RAM just for developer purposes and all this other crazy specs and whatnot. But the final model would come out with something a little more, cost friendly. But yeah, I guess he was duped. The kid gave him like a bunch of bogus information. I don't know what his vetting process is, but it sucked. It sucked.
It's funny. I mean, I can sympathize with him. I'm sure we all can, because we're on this side of the industry, and I know I've dealt in the past with a number of hoaxes, and we've had April Fool's jokes and all sorts of things. Every day it's another challenge trying to wade through like the rumors and find out if stuff's real. So I can sympathize with the guy. But I mean, I think that's funny. It is kind of funny. I mean, I'm always like, challenge me. I want someone to try to dupe me into thinking something is so crazy and cool and real. But I don't know. I think we can, especially on this side of sort of the industry.
Yeah.
And it comes with the territory. It's like what you can expect.
I mean, I'm sure he gets a crazy amount of hoaxes and fake stuff.
And really, for it to take this long for him to be really fooled, I mean, pretty impressive, because like Chris was saying, his leaks are as close to official as you can get without being official. It's just like...
He's got a damn good track record. I mean, say what you will. There's a lot of like people that are quote unquote haters. Every time we post an EV-Leaks thing, someone's like, "Oh, EV-Leaks, da 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 da," and they get all mad. They're like, "It's fake. He faked it," and it's ridiculous. Most of the time, he just he leaks press renders and stuff. And before he was EV-Leaks, he worked for Pocket EV-Leaks. He worked for Pocket Now. He was like their leaker guy. So like the longest time, I think it was a couple of years ago, Pocket Now got all these crazy, awesome leaks, and that was because of Evan Blass. He was the guy.
Yeah. Which is why it's EV-Leaks and not EV-Leaks.
I still think it's EV-Leaks.
No, he's come out and said very specifically that it is EV-Leaks. Do not call it EV-Leaks.
Hopefully somebody on Twitter will be able to take us to task on that, because
yeah.
Always very helpful.
We get like very few tweets and emails, but when we do, it's about pronouncing things.
It's how wrong we are,
Yeah. But going back to the EV-Leaks thing, he was cool about it. He came out and like owned up to it and said, "Yo, this is what happened. I was wrong." And
got duped.
That's why people trust his leaks, because he's pretty honest about it. So.
Yep.
All right. So going back to Android Wear, like Chris was mentioning, the SDK came out a little while ago, so people could make apps, and we're starting to see some of those trickle into the Play Store. Not as separate apps, well, some are, but most of these are just like added on to existing apps. So some of the ones, there's like a pizza delivery app, or where you can order food. There's a cooking app, which I thought was really neat. You can like see your recipe on your wrist. I think that's pretty dang handy.
Yeah.
What were some of the other ones, Chris?
The recipe. There's the Duolingo, which was like teaching you a new language or something. I forget. It's a very popular app for learning a new language.
Yeah, that's a language app. Yep.
Delta Airlines made their own standalone. Like we mentioned before, the Evernote has their own standalone.
No, I thought Delta's was built in.
Built into
their standard app.
Oh, was it? I thought it was just a separate. I thought it said Delta Wear or something on it, but we have the link to like the page.
Yeah, there's a specific page where you can see all these in the Play Store.
Yeah, and you can find it either in the application, or you can just click the link and check it out on the web view too. But it's got a bunch of. Let me see what they got on here. It's kind of hard to tell which ones are just supported, because there's a lot of people, and these are just the featured ones, because there's a lot of people have been saying like, "Yo, man, we made like a Android Wear app and it's not even featured on there," and it's like, oh, that sucks. But what else is on there? Let's see. There's Lyft. Lyft has their own little app. I wonder how many
Trello
of these.
had one too, actually.
Oh, Trello is another good one.
Just in that, added a Android Wear channel.
Yeah, Lyft. It looks like they just added compatibility or support for Android Wear. Hue control for those Philips Hue lights.
A lot of these, if you go in the Play Store and scroll through the screenshots, like at the very end, they have a couple Android Wear screenshots if you want to see how they look on the watch.
Yeah. Pretty neat. Pretty neat
yeah,
stuff.
I'm getting pretty excited seeing these apps.
It's cool because I mean.
Are you guys going to get Android Wear? Isn't it coming shipping soon next week?
Already bought it, man. I
Oh.
got my LG G watch. I bought it
Yeah,
like
the watches ship on the 8th.
Yeah, I believe so.
seven. I think now they like they've gone on to like the next day now, but now they're starting to ship on the 8th. But originally they were shipping on the 7th.
Are these exclusively sold through Google Play, or are they going to be in stores too?
I would
Great
assume they're going to
question.
be. I'm assuming they're going to be in stores. I don't think this is just a Google Play thing because I mean this is like the next big thing right now. Like
The
this
Moto
whole smartwatch
360
stuff.
better be in storage because if people see that in a store, they're gonna buy it.
Dude, without question, put that like in a freaking Macy's, put that like in Nordstrom, anywhere, dude. People are gonna see that and be like, "Oh my god, I gotta have this."
That would be an interesting approach too, because these things you look at them and they would typically be something you would buy like at Best Buy. But imagine if they started actually selling these like in the watch case at like a jewelry
Oh,
store,
yeah.
or like a fancy department store. That would be a
Well,
completely different.
the one of the I guess you can call it a fail or whatever, but one of the problems with Android Wear is that it's not compatible with iOS. So there's all these people that have iPhones out there. They're gonna be like, "Man, that Moto 6 360 looks really sick," but can't even do anything with it. Like that kind of sucks.
Yeah, that is a problem because they could come out with an Android Wear app for iOS, but it's so built into the way the notifications work in Android. I don't know
Exactly.
if they could ever do that.
Yeah, I don't think it's kind of almost impossible. I would think maybe just with Google Apps would only work or something. I don't know, but for whatever reason, that's probably why we don't see an iOS app yet.
Yeah. All right. So moving on, some Apple news. Apple CarPlay. They got a few new partners this week. Some car companies. A few of these I haven't even heard of. Abarth,
A lot of European car companies.
Alfa Romeo, excuse me, Audi, Chrysler, Dodge, Fiat, Jeep, Mazda, and Ram. I thought Ram was just a brand of Dodge vehicles, or is that a completely
think-
separate?
I mean, I think it started as like the Dodge Ram, but I think the Ram is like its own distinct line now.
Oh.
It's like below Dodge, like Chrysler.
So I guess
Dodge.
I guess the war is on CarPlay versus Android
Android Auto.
Ring it.
Which would be interesting because I mean they do share a couple of manufacturers, I believe. So are you going to go to like the dealership and they'll say, okay, do you want the iOS or do you want the Android version?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still hoping that these cars that have both will have both installed,
Exactly.
and then whatever you plug in will determine what shows up.
it's just mirroring from your device, so it's
At
like,
least
well,
that's what Android L does. I mean, is CarPlay the same way?
I'm guessing it does, right? It's
The
going to pull
CarPlay
data
is
from
very
the
similar
router.
to Android Auto. It's just it's a very basic iOS 7 or iOS 8 interface that relies heavily on your phone being synced to it.
Yeah, so I'm guessing just plug it in and it'll know whether you got an iPhone or an Android. But
I don't know.
I mean, it's a car. There's plenty of room to be able to have two OSs. I mean, it's not like you're running out of space.
But yeah, you have to remember this is America, and there are deals that get made, and Apple, is
Apple doesn't want to have they don't have the option to not use Apple if it's a new car.
exactly.
I mean, and the
We
other
can't have this next to Android.
the other thing to wonder is, I mean, I haven't bought a car in years, or even been like shopping for a car in years, so I'm not sure what is like standard equipment at this point. When I bought a car, like satellite radio was an extra. I'm sure satellite radio is probably pretty standard now. So I wonder is this something that's going to be standard on a lot of cars, or is it going to be something that we're going to have to pay extra for? And then if you have to pay extra, I could see them being like, well, you're going to pay extra. Do you want to get the CarPlay or do you want to get the Android Auto?
I think it'll be extra because you have to have some kind of like in-dash unit, like with a big touch screen and all that stuff. So you would probably have to opt for some kind of navigation system or something on your
It
car.
won't be. I can't see it being a subscription though. Like
No.
Radio.
No. That's the whole benefit of it is that like you don't have to subscribe to any of the stupid services. It's all pulled straight from your phone. Yeah, free,
Yeah.
but exciting.
All right, and then in more
devices.
in more smartwatch news, Microsoft back in the news for smartwatches. But this recent rumor is saying theirs is going to be basically just a fitness band with phone notifications on it. So
like the
not
Gear
quite. What's that?
Kind of like the Gear Fit.
Or
Yeah, I
the
guess you
Pebble.
could say that. Yeah.
Or maybe more like a Pebble, where it shows you notifications, but you can't necessarily like interact with them or do anything.
I mean, they always promised that the Fitbit was eventually going to be able to have like call notifications on it, but that never happened. So it'd kind of be a little bit like that too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's cool for fitness people if you don't want like a full-fledged smartwatch.
I'm sure it'll be cheaper too, so
Right.
that's also another benefit.
And then lastly in our news, the Lumia 635 is launching on T-Mobile, and I am not completely current on Windows news, but I'm pretty sure that is going to be the first Windows Phone 8.1 device to launch.
That's pretty big news, then, right?
Yeah, that should be big news, which is making me think I might be wrong because I haven't seen it a lot as big news, but I don't know. Someone email me and correct me, please. All right, so wins and fails of the week. Kevin, you are up.
Short week. Didn't really. Well, not a lot of news, but I thought this is worth mentioning as a win. Everybody knows it is the 4th of July tomorrow, so I just want to give a shout out to American independence. Nothing against all these other fine nations in the
Shout out
world.
to G-Dubs.
What are you trying to say?
I enjoy my travels around the world and the peoples and cultures of all countries and nations. But yeah, I mean, I'm proud to be an American on this greatest of holidays. And I'm looking forward to drinking beer and eating grilled meats, and that's always a win, you know.
Drinking beer.
Fireworks.
Oh yeah, fireworks, of course, man. And last weekend.
Are they legal where you guys live? Do you guys?
No, they're not. But I had last weekend. I was some friends of mine. We went down to my friend's lake house and we shot off some real good old fashioned Alabama fireworks because I guess they're not illegal in Alabama. Have to ask our Ashley.
So is it where you live, Kevin? Is it all sizes are illegal? Because where I live, certain small sizes are legal.
You can have ground fireworks. You can have like snakes and sparklers and some like fountains. I think things that are like in the.
Do they have those?
category.
Do they have those booths like at the grocery store? They have those like car.
Yeah, you go out in the parking lot and they got But you can't have anything that's like shoots into the sky. So bottle rockets are technically illegal. Any kind of explosive device that launches into the air is illegal.
Oh well, yeah, that makes perfect sense. I completely understand.
Are any of your bordering states? Is it legal? Because I know some people here will go to, I think it's Indiana or Ohio where you can get big ones, and then they'll go there and bring them back.
Yeah. Pennsylvania has slightly more relaxed fireworks laws, but they still have restrictions that are more so than some other states. But yeah, you can go there. You can go to like a few other states around here and get better fireworks. But if you want to get the real crazy ones, you gotta go.
You got to go to the ice cream man. That's where we go, and you get
we don't
cherry
condone
bombs.
any of this.
Cherry bombs. You can get Roman
Well,
candles.
so if you live in some place where fireworks are legal, or if you are deciding to illegally use fireworks this weekend, which we can't condone, be safe. Don't blow your hand off, because then you have no use for a smartphone or a smartwatch or anything like that. So.
It's nice.
Get the water. Get the water.
All right, but yeah, so that's cool. I'm looking forward to the holiday weekend. I hope everyone has a good holiday if you're celebrating, and if you're using it as an excuse to celebrate. My fail of the week is this extremely dumb fan video, the Material Duarte. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Yeah.
Material Duarte.
That's not his name. That was the name of the video.
No, I know. That's the name of the video. His name's I know.
He's legally gonna change his name to Material Duarte.
So I thought that was like quite possibly the dumbest thing I ever spent 2 minutes watching. So nothing against it, because I think the material design, I think the new Android interface is awesome. I think it looks great, and I don't know Matthias Duarte as a person. Matthias, okay, someone correct me on Twitter. I don't know him as a person, so I can't speak for, if he's cool or not, but I just thought that video was pretty dumb, so shame on whoever made that.
I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. After I watched it, I was kind of like, what did I just watch? But, I mean, it totally is like...
I liked it.
That's so his style is like, it's kind of is the 80s type. I mean, you've seen the shirts he wears and stuff.
Oh, yeah, retro.
It's kind of weird fashion dude. I don't even know what to call it, but yeah. It's slightly funny. If you want to know what we're talking about, this video that we posted on Phandroid. It's called "I'm a Material Duarte" or something.
Living in a material.
I get it. I guess my fail is more focused on like the people that like for a lot of Android fanboys, he's like Beyonce.
Yeah, this is our Beyonce. This is like the guy. Like
Beyonce.
It's so funny how I guess that happens. I mean, for those that don't know, Matias Duarte, he was the guy that was working on Palm WebOS. He was like the WebOS guy. He's the one that designed the beautiful WebOS, and then he came over to Android and designed Holo YOLO. And then there's like subreddits on Reddit, just praising, circle jerking. I mean, they love everything that Matias does.
Well, you know what the hashtag is now? It's Materiolo.
Materiolo, which I didn't really like. That's okay. Holo YOLO made sense, but like someone originally said, and they were trying to like get it going, but it was, what was it? Material Swag, which I thought was a little bit better. Materiolo, I guess that's cool too.
It's it flows off the tongue.
Yeah,
he's like the yin to Johnny Ive's yang, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure Johnny Ive has his fanboys that just like
are you kidding?
Scream.
No, I don't think there's any fanboys for Johnny Ive or Apple products. No way.
Products is one thing. The people that make those products, that's when you get into fanboyism.
I would like to see like a celebrity death match between those two.
They should bring it back.
All right, so my win of the week is also not tech related. Mine's going to be the World Cup, and I guess even though the U.S. lost, I'm not a soccer fan by any means. I pretty much watch it every 4 years. But I enjoyed the crap out of watching the U.S. in the couple of games that I saw this year, and that goalie is a beast, man.
Oh, yeah.
I had a blast watching that.
Tim Hudson or what was his
Tim
name?
Howard, yeah.
Tim Howard.
And the funniest thing, someone changed the Wikipedia entry for the
Secretary of Defense.
Yeah, Secretary of Defense. And then that guy legitimately called Tim Howard to congratulate him, the Secretary of Defense, which is pretty hilarious.
This is so cool.
No, I watched that game and it was kind of another one of those heartbreaking kind of because he played lights out. They took it into extra time and then things kind of the wheels fell off at the end there. But
I'm very excited to watch more soccer in 4 years.
Yep. Dude, I think that's the coolest the coolest part about the World Cup. I didn't even know this, but I mean, I guess it is every 4 years. I think they should do that with the Super Bowl. If they did it with the Super Bowl, they could build up so much more hype, and it would just be epic. It'd be so awesome.
There'd be too many drunk driving incidents.
I'm not like a big sports guy, but if the Super Bowl is every 4 years, that would be great.
Combine the records for 4 years to determine who makes the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, how do they do it in World Cup? I have no idea.
What we really need to do is just make American football more popular worldwide so they can have a World Cup of football teams.
So we can just destroy everyone.
Yeah. Well,
thanks for playing.
Like our basketball, what was the basketball teams? Like we go to the Olympics or we do something and we just like destroy everybody?
Well, we used to. It's kind of close nowadays. But anyway, so my fail of the week is ultimate first world problem, and that is I am super excited for the Moto 360, and every time I see anything about Android, I just want to buy it.
It's called. I call it. Are you getting bitter? Once this like all this excitement turns to bitterness, I call that the 1+1 syndrome.
I'm not bitter. I'm just impatient.
Yeah, everyone is. I mean, that's how we are. But
it's very strange that they did that. That they like released all the other ones immediately. But Moto 360, which was like the first one they announced, is like the last one to come out. So.
Well, I saw.
Plus, all these the big reviewers have them, right? Like The Verge and MKBHD. Everyone's wearing them, but no one's allowed to talk about them. So people thought like, oh, Google I/O, they're going to officially announce it. They're going to like release them that day, but nope.
Well, I just heard one theory that made a lot of sense. Maybe makes sense. I don't know. It depends. But someone was saying that the 360 has so much hype, and it's like everyone wants it so bad that if they would have released them at the same time, no one would have bought the G Watch and the Gear Live.
False pricing. I will put money on it right now. On this podcast, mark my words, it's going to be $100 more than.
Yeah, I mean everybody knows that.
$100. It'll be $349.99, maybe $299.99, but it's not going to be any less than $300.
I'm personally betting on $299, but yeah, I think everyone completely understands that it's going to be more expensive. I see that
you spend
commenters everywhere.
Just the circular, design or whatever? Do you think
Yeah.
that's worth an extra $100 to you?
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I'm not just because it's circular. It's the whole design as like an entire thing,
I think it's funny, pricing for the whole Android Wear stuff makes me laugh a little bit when you consider that, $250, $300 for a smartwatch isn't that bad when I have like a watch that just tells time that I spent $200 on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So true.
So I don't know. I think it would definitely be worth the extra $100 to get the Moto 360 just because it looks badass, man. I like that.
I mean, that's such Apple mentality right there. Well, the specs are the same. It does everything else as all the other ones, but it just looks so much prettier.
That's the thing, though. It's
got chamfered edges. They're chamfered.
The ultimate fashion statement device. I mean, you're not just going to have this in your pocket for no one to see. This is on your arm all the time.
People will notice. Like, and I still want to make a post where it's like the best Android gadgets to get the girls. But the Moto 360 is going to be the top of that list for sure.
And then nothing else.
No, there's Google Glass, bro. Okay.
All right, Chris, what's your wins and fails?
My win for the week is going to be the Android L nav button. So this user on Reddit was going through the Google Design site page where they were listing off, the Google, all the new material design stuff that developers, all the resources and guidelines on how to design apps for Android L. Some dude found these nav buttons, which at first glance, we didn't even see them. I mean, Joe knows because he was helping me with it, but like grab all these images and GIFs and stuff from that design page, but we totally missed it. But the nav buttons have been slightly redesigned for Android L. So this is leading some people to believe that those weird PlayStation shapes that are on the Nexus phones, which are currently on Android L right now, those weird PlayStation shapes probably are just placeholders because nobody really liked them. Everyone thought that they were a little bit strange, and just didn't really make sense. Visually, they're not very user friendly. You don't see the square and go, "Oh, I know that's the multitasking button." But these new redesigned ones, they show the multitasking or the recents looks exactly like it does when you actually press the button, so it makes sense. The back button goes back, so it's awesome.
I like the new design, but I agree that they don't make sense. Like,
right.
They don't tell you what's going to happen when you press the button.
No, that was the single thing that when I saw the new design, that was the one thing I was like, oh, those are ugly. I just did not like those at all. So I'm really hoping.
Crossing fingers. I think it's going to happen. I think they're just placeholders. It makes a lot of sense, but that's going to be my win, my hopeful win. And then my fail is going to be the fact that there is still no Galaxy S5 Google Play Edition. So despite that once Google I/O came around, everyone thought maybe Samsung was going to pull a Google I/O 2013 like they did last year or whatever, and they're going to announce a Galaxy S5 Google Play Edition. They didn't. Google I/O came and went. Still no mention of a Galaxy S5 Google Play Edition. And even though Google updated the Android page, so the Android.com page was updated, and it shows a Galaxy S5 Google Play Edition, the phone still is nowhere to be seen. And I think that's a huge fail because I've kind of been wanting. I think that might be my next. That might be my next for some.
It's a conspiracy because Samsung knows that if they release a phone with stock Android, that it's going to be so much faster than the TouchWiz version that people are going to realize how bad TouchWiz is.
If they ever do release that, no one should buy it at this point. Like this far after the fact, why would you even waste your
Snapdragon
time?
801 processor. It'll have a nice camera. I mean, there's cool things about it. The HTC One, I have the M8 right now, and I can't get over how heavy it is and how slippery it is. It keeps falling out of my hands, and the thing weighs like a brick. It's so dang heavy, and I'm like,
It's because it's built good, dude.
it's built Ford tough, bro.
Built Ford tough.
I'll tell you what, I got to give a shout out here to my boy Edgar and tell you that you got to get an LG G3.
You got to get that LG. I've completely sworn off. I know Kevin wasn't here, but I've sworn off LG products after the G2. and the Nexus 5. I've just had these weird Bluetooth issues, all these weird hardware issues with LG phones dating back forever, and now I'm completely fed up. I'm never going LG again. Mark
Three
my words.
Gs. 3Gs.
More G's.
All right, a little quicker here. Let's go through our app picks.
All right, my pick for this week, and I could have swore that this was available. I could have swore I've used it before, but I guess I was wrong. DLC for Android Beta apparently was only available in other parts of the world, not in the U.S., but now it is available in the U.S. So if you like playing weird video formats on your phone, just like on computers, VLC will be there for you. I use VLC all the time on the computer to play all sorts of video files. So that should be something worth checking out if you're into, all kinds of crazy media formats.
I think they just added Chromecast support to that too, like once it came out in the U.S. or whatever. So
that is kind of pretty major.
Even
feature,
better.
I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right, my app pick of the week came out, I think, last week. It left beta, and this is kind of surprised me. I tried Yahoo Aviate browser just for the heck of it, and I've been using it for like a week, and I actually really like it. Like just last night, I was like, oh, I'm gonna switch back to. I was using the Google Now launcher. I was like, oh, I'm gonna switch back to that now. And I like use it for a little bit, and I was like, "Oh, I don't like this. I need to go back."
I miss Aviate. That's so weird.
Yeah, I did not expect that at all to happen. So if you were looking for a new launcher to try, give it a try. The selling point. Sorry to keep interrupting you.
Oh, good.
The selling point thing the really thing that makes me miss it is the auto organization of apps. Like you swipe over to the right, and all your apps are like in these nice little social, productivity, entertainment. It's so much faster to launch the app that you're looking for.
This looks really nice. I'm looking at it. I haven't seen this before. It looks really nice.
Yeah, now
really nice.
like once they left beta, now they left beta with like the Yahoo tag. So like Yahoo bought Aviate not too long ago. Back in the day, there was just a beta. I tried out the beta back then, and it was pretty neat. But I don't like things doing stuff for me, so I don't really like it when they categorize apps because I'm looking for one that I think is social, but it turns out they have it under.
Well, you can rearrange that a little bit too if you find that it's not completely accurate, which I've done. I've changed a few. So yeah.
Yeah, I think in the beta it didn't work that way, so I was just like, gosh dang it, I don't want them to categorize. I want to be able to at least customize it myself.
It's like it's so crazy too because like so to the left is a tab that kind of is always changing depending on what you're doing, and it's so accurate. Like just the other day I was at the McDonald's drive-thru, and I pull out my phone as I'm waiting, and the left tab had changed to show you're at McDonald's, and like here you can check in here, and like here are apps related to McDonald's. Not that I had any, but it's just like it's really pretty cool. So yeah,
that is cool. It's a smart launcher.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's your app pick. My app pick for the week is going to be, I kind of was struggling to find one. Usually I download a bunch of apps and always plus one in stuff. On
like the Kim Kardashian app?
Like the Kim, I swear I did not, I don't know what the heck was going on with that, because I did not, like at all. I saw that even pop up like in the Google Play, and I was like, oh, it's that stupid Kim Kardashian app. I didn't even click it. So I don't know what's going on, but my app pick for the week is going to be the Denny's Atari Remix. So they have the Atari's Greatest Hits that's on the Google Play Store, and they give you like one free game, and the rest are all in-app purchases. Pretty lame, but Denny's as in like the diner, the restaurant, they redesigned all these apps with like around a food breakfast theme, and they made all these games for free. So I think they offer 3 of them or 4. You have Breakout, which they call, I forget what they call it, but and you shoot the little bacons and little eggs pop down the plate, and it's pretty cool. It's all very, I wouldn't even call it 8-bit. I guess it's like 4-bit, but pretty cool. And it's free. It's games that Atari originally charged for, but pretty neat. And then my other app pick is going to be the Android L keyboard. You can download that on Google Play. It came out last week. Someone ripped it from, I guess, one of the images or the factory, this and that. But it's pretty neat. You kind of have to go to the post to read the directions on how to enable it, because even though if you download the app, you gotta still kind of work for it. You gotta adjust some settings to get the new
It's
material design. Not that hard, not at all. But that is also my other pick. I was kind of torn, so I got a game and an app, and that's going to be my list.
All right, well, that is going to wrap things up for us. Have fun tomorrow. Watch a parade, eat some grilled food, have an adult beverage if you are of age. Don't blow your hand off like Kevin said, but yeah, have a good time. We'll be back next week. You can get in contact with us at our email address, podcast@mobileroar.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and in the Windows Phone Store. And you can up on Twitter about how we're pronouncing things with Chris is at GamerCore, Kevin is at You Don't Know Kev, and I am at Tall Schmo. And we will see you guys again next week. Have a good weekend. See ya.
See you guys.